Amid the dusty streets, humble homes, and rolling countryside of ancient Israel, 7 remarkable events unveiled God's heart for mankind. These aren't just the 7 miracles recorded in John's Gospel. They're profound windows into the depths of God's love and the power Jesus released over every aspect of our lives. There are 37 miracles recorded in the other 3 Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke. Why did John choose only 7 for his Gospel? I believe each miracle reveals something that Jesus has for you and I today. Miracle number 1, turning water into wine. Picture Jesus, his family, and disciples as guests of a Jewish wedding. The celebration is in full swing, but then disaster strikes. The wine was running out. In that culture, this was more than an embarrassment. It was social devastation. That couple would live in shame for years in this small town of Cana. Mary tells Jesus of the problem. Jesus replies that it isn't his time yet. What he means is that God would control the time when he would begin to do signs and wonders, and he didn't think it was that time. But apparently, God had different ideas. Jesus next tells the servants to pour water into 6 massive stone water jars used for ceremonial cleansing. Each jar held about 20 to 30 gallons. Then Jesus told them to present some to the master of ceremonies. The water had become the most exquisite wine the master of ceremonies had tasted. Only the servants and Jesus' disciples and family knew about this miracle. Could it be that Jesus cared deeply about the married couple and didn't want them to live in disgrace? Yes, I think that was a big part of his motivation. But also John 2:11 reveals, this miraculous sign at Cana in Galilee was the first time Jesus revealed his glory, and his disciples believed in him. The miracle was to reveal Jesus' glory, his worth, his splendor, his supernatural power, and to build the faith of his disciples. But why turn water into wine as a first miracle? When I was a new Christian, I thought about that. And why do it so quietly? No one knew except for Jesus' family, disciples, and the servants. Each of the 7 miracles John writes about has a deeper symbolic meaning, and each has precious promises for us. The Expositor's Bible commentary reveals the symbolism in this, the first miracle. Jesus had come to bring about conversion, water to wine, sinners to saints. And this latter miracle of transformation occurs in almost complete obscurity. Few know when or how it happens, but they know that it does happen. Jesus turned water into wine without anyone knowing how, and the people at the wedding didn't even know it happened. In the same way, God gives us new life. We don't know how, but we do know when he does it. The stone jars were used for ceremonial cleansing, for religious purposes. Jesus transformed the water into wine. Jesus transformed religion into relationship. He turned ceremonial cleansing into forgiveness, once and forever forgiveness. This miracle was Jesus' promise of conversion to us, that we would be completely transformed and brought into relationship with God through him. And then wine throughout Scripture is a symbol of joy and celebration. This new wine is the promise of joy that comes with being born again. Miracle 2, healing the government official's son. There was a government official in nearby Capernaum who'd come to Jesus because his son was very sick. Jesus told him, go back home, your son will live. And the man believed what Jesus said and started home. John 4:50. While on the way home, some of his servants met him and told him his son was healed. This miracle reveals Jesus' authority over illness and his ability to heal from afar. It shows that he doesn't have to be there laying hands on someone for them to be healed. It also demonstrates the power of faith in his word. This miracle is a promise that you are never beyond God's reach to address and overcome your struggles. This is a promise that he hears you and responds to your hardships. Miracle 3, healing the lame man at the pool of Bethesda. On the Sabbath, Jesus came to the pool of Bethesda where many gathered in search of healing. One man, unable to walk for 38 years, caught his attention. Jesus asked him, do you want to be healed? The man's answer was clear. Then Jesus spoke words of life. Get up, pick up your mat, and walk. and suddenly that man was healed. He stood up, picked up his mat, and walked, restored completely. The religious leaders were offended because he did this on the Sabbath. This miracle beautifully illustrates Jesus' compassion for the suffering that we go through and his divine authority over that suffering. Even on the Sabbath, he healed, demonstrating that his mercy is greater than the law and the traditions of men. Miracle 4, feeding the 5,000. On the grassy hills near the Sea of Galilee, a crowd formed. Thousands had followed Jesus because of the miracles he had done. People were hungry, both physically and spiritually. Jesus wanted to feed the crowd. A young boy offered 5 small barley loaves and 2 fish, essentially a poor person's lunch. Jesus took this meager offering, prayed over it, and broke it into pieces. And it multiplied, feeding everyone and leaving 12 baskets of leftovers, a number symbolic of Israel's 12 tribes. This provision was for everyone. This wasn't just about feeding stomachs. It was a prophetic sign of God's ability to provide beyond all human limitation. This miracle revealed Jesus' ability to provide for physical needs, and then it foreshadowed his role as the bread of life, who satisfies spiritual hunger as well. He is God's bread of life, broken to give life to all who will receive him. Miracle 5, walking on water. Jesus had crossed the Sea of Galilee in a small boat with his disciples, but a large crowd followed him. He taught the crowd and miraculously multiplied bread and fish to feed them. Then Jesus withdrew to a mountain to be alone. He often did that to be with God. He told the disciples to go ahead of him. They got in the boat and began to row back across the Sea of Galilee, leaving Jesus behind. The wind came up, the waves rose, and rowing was hard. Then suddenly, they saw someone walking toward them on the water. The disciples were terrified. You would be too. It was Jesus. He got in the boat, and immediately the boat arrived at their destination on the other side of the Sea of Galilee. This miracle reveals the complete authority Jesus has over the natural world, including matter, he was walking on water, time, and space. The boat was miraculously transported to the other side of the lake in an instant. His power is without limits. Miracle 6, healing the man born blind. In the bustling streets of Jerusalem, a man sits, blind from birth. Jesus' disciples asked, whose sin caused this man's blindness? His parents or himself? Neither, Jesus replied, debunking the Jewish belief that sickness and adversity is caused by individual sins. Some people believe that today as well. Using mud made from his own spit, he put it on the man's eyes and told him to go wash in the pool of Siloam. The blind man did and was healed. This wasn't just a physical healing. It was a profound spiritual metaphor of how God brings light to darkness. He gives sight to us who were born spiritually blind. Just as this man was never able to see until Jesus touched him, neither can we. Jesus is the light of the world with the power to restore spiritual sight to all men. 2 Corinthians 4:6. For God who said, let light shine out of darkness, is the one who has shown in our hearts to give us the light of the knowledge of the glory and majesty of God, clearly revealed in the face of Christ. Miracle 7, raising Lazarus from the dead. 4 days after Lazarus' death, his sisters Mary and Martha were consumed by grief. Jesus arrived. He wept with them. Talking to Martha about who he was, Jesus said, I am the resurrection and the life. Anyone who believes in me will live even after dying. John 11:25. He told them to open the tomb. Reluctantly, they did. Then Jesus did the unthinkable. He commanded, Lazarus, come out. And Lazarus walked out, still wrapped in burial cloths. This wasn't just Jesus bringing a dear friend back to life. This was Jesus revealing his power over death and foreshadowing his own resurrection, which would forever conquer death for all mankind. These 7 miracles of Jesus revealed the heart of God, who was very different from the God of law the Jews had been taught about. Through Jesus, God revealed himself as a loving Father who doesn't just observe our pain, but he enters it. He's there with us. He cares about us. He loves us, a God of relationship who transforms, heals, provides, and brings us to life as his sons and daughters. These aren't just ancient stories. They're an invitation to believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Messiah, and with him, nothing, absolutely nothing, is impossible. John 20:30-31. The disciples saw Jesus do many other miraculous signs in addition to the ones recorded in this book. But these are written so that you may continue to believe that Jesus is the Messiah, the Son of God, and that by believing in him, you will have life by the power of his name. That is my prayer for you this day, that you will believe in him and you will live in his power. And absolutely nothing is impossible for Christ. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Until next time, God bless.